Well, I got a message for Jamie Dimon. I know what's going on with J.P. Morgan. The government's getting really brave about attacking J.P. Morgan now because it's become popular opinion in the alternative media that J.P. Morgan is evil, right? You know, it depends on how the economy's going. If the economy's moving up, everything looks great. But I know Obama now is kind of snubbing Jamie Dimon, right? He's not letting him sit with the rest of the big boys like it matters, right? Like Obama's the big boy. Now he's the Manchurian candidate, but he's owned by somebody else. But let me get on to another idea. I think that J.P. Morgan ought to get into the healthcare industry. And how can we do that? How can we do that? You know, there's a loophole basically around the Obamacare. Well, there's a couple of loopholes, you know. You could be in prison or you could be on an Indian reservation, and that don't count. You're not a part of Obamacare. But there's a third alternative, and that is through Christian ministries. Christian ministries. Now, what I would propose, and I ain't going up to New York and breathing that air and working on this shit, but I'm just proposing it as an idea. And I had this idea before because, you know, I can't stand this government healthcare garbage and all the crooks out there in the freaking doctor land, you know. They talk about the financial people being crooks. Well, at least the financial people don't give you poisons in your body and let you die of cancer and collect a fee for it while they smile in your face. They just kind of rip you off a little bit. I mean, it ain't nowhere near as bad as the doctors. But, you know, to actually make up for this, the way around Obamacare, and this is what J.P. Morgan ought to get into, they ought to get into the charitable aspect and help the community more and really put a good foot out. You know, not just about the mortgages and stuff like that, helping the community with the mortgages, but with this Obamacare, which is on everybody's mind. So I proposed a while back, and it is legal that you can get into a Christian-like co-op type thing where all the Christians get together and they share the health expenses. So we can have the Mary Magdalene medicinal marijuana masseuses. How's that? The Mary Magdalene medicinal marijuana masseuses. That's the 5 M's. It can actually start like, you know, almost like Hooters did. You know, start out small. You get the hot masseuses doling out the freaking medicinal marijuana, and it's all for charity. It's all for religious purposes. It's Mary Magdalene and everything else. You know, Jesus is, I don't know who she was. She's a disciple or girlfriend. I'm not sure. I mean, if I say girlfriend of Jesus, everybody gets mad. But maybe she was. I don't know. Anyway, you know, it's different interpretations they got in history. Depends on what religious person you are. But, you know, we're not getting into that. We're getting into a new religious cult here that we need to get into to avoid this stupid Obamacare. We don't need it. And I think J.P. Morgan ought to take the helm on this, you know. A nice charitable organization. Of course, you got to have it, you know, like one's owned of another, you know, bunch of shell companies for this thing to go under. And, you know, the director of this Mary Magdalene medicinal marijuana masseuses need not take, you know, a $50 million yearly salary and suck up all the profits. We don't want to be screwing up like that right from the beginning. But considering that you got like 300 million people in the United States that don't want Obamacare once they start figuring out it's going to be really screwed up, you got a hell of a lot of customers out there. You got a hell of a lot of customers. And we all know that medicinal marijuana oil heals cancer, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and you name it. It was actually cannabis was in practically all the medicines all the way up till 1937, the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937, when they stopped allowing it to be used. And it was actually the American Medical Association that was one of the biggest protesters against them stopping the use of basically outlawing cannabis in the United States because it was used in practically every medicine. So we need to go back to old ancient healing, but we're going to have to do it through a religious aspect because that's the only way this law can be gotten around. And it's not to get around the law. It's actually, we need to return to our roots in the United States, our religious roots. And why not everybody, heard of, Jesus, and they heard of, you know, every God and Allah and whatever the hell we have, right? And Buddha. Well, why not Mary Magdalene? The Mary Magdalene medicinal marijuana masseuses, the 5 M's, easy to remember. That could be the new church, co-op church, charitable church that's going to manage the healthcare. And I think with the expertise of JP Morgan behind it, and some of their marketing savvy and all their tentacles they got into everything out there, that would be pretty cool. And Obama, he should be excluded from ever having a Mary Magdalene genuine medicinal marijuana masseuse come over to the White House and give him a treatment. You know what I mean? But I think this would be very popular with the American red-blooded males out there too, because, especially as preventive medicine. Just think about it. As preventive medicine, you can call up the the foundation, the charitable foundation, Mary Magdalene medicinal marijuana masseuses. Call them up, and as preventive medicine, on your tax-free banking card that you put your money into, because it's like a health savings account that you have, and for a minimal fee, you can have one of them come over, and give you some medicinal marijuana oil and a massage as preventive medicine. I think that would be excellent, excellent. And if JP Morgan managed this, I think it would actually take all the tarnish off of their reputation, and they'd be this sterling financial powerhouse that's going to lead the United States into greater heights that we've ever experienced before. And those heights might be accentuated by some of the marijuana itself, but you're not supposed to smoke it. You're supposed to use the oils. So that is why we have the marijuana medicinal masseuses. They massage the oil into the skin being the largest organ of the body. It works to heal the entire body. So I think this would be an interesting way to get around this Obamacare. Do it through religion. Do it through religion. And why not have a new alternative religion? Why not have a new alternative religion? Something nobody ever thought of, right? I mean, why not? Why not? And I think, what's to stop preclude JP Morgan from not getting involved in this? I think this would be a great idea. And obviously very popular with the average American too, especially the males, right?